To the boy I made the mistake of befriending. Let's not meet again. So this is my first post to Reddit. I was told about this forum and the scenario has come back to haunt me after a couple of bad dreams. It was high school. I always spent my time in the art classrooms as it was one of the few things that made me happy. Pottery was my one true love during high school. I made bowls, cups, teapots, whatever made me happy. In my blissful ignorance, I was sure that everyone in my class were nice and genuinely kind people, and for the most part, I was right. I befriended most of them, or at least kept on friendly, positive terms, but mostly always had my headphones in and was zoned on the pottery wheel or another art project that was due. I made the mistake of befriending a junior boy as a sophomore, Isaac. Now Isaac seemed nice and normal. You know how sometimes people seem a bit off, and that's why people give them a chance. Well, that wasn't the case. Either that or I was too dumb to see the red flags. He was kind and helpful to everyone, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies to say this, but in the beginning, I actually had a crush on him. Fortunately, I had reserved myself to not dating due to some soul-crushing insecurities and never really shared or pursued my romantic feelings with anyone, not even my closest friends. However, midway into our first semester, I started to get the creeped out feelings. I would catch him looking at me, which he would smile and wave, so I didn't try to think too much of it. Then I noticed how he seemed to always just be there to make conversation. If I mentioned being interested, even the slightest bit in something, he would go up and out of his way to learn everything about it or even gift it to me. He ended up giving me a copy of a movie franchise I was interested in because I was too anxious to say no, and I never watched it because I didn't want to invite any more conversation with him than I had to. But things weren't bad yet. I had no clue he was stalking me. I just thought maybe he liked me and was a little weird about it. My memory is a little foggy at this point because this is when I realized that there's something wrong with this guy, and apparently that is just my brain's defense mechanism. So our semester final is coming up, and we had a very special project that I still hold dear to my heart, but it was rather unique, so I don't want to share the details. I will say that I poured my heart into this project, however, and could not be happier to this day with how it went. The only good thing in this story. After the finals, we all stood together with our projects for a group picture. Isaac stood next to me, and a close friend of mine who picked up on how creepy Isaac had gotten way before I did. Now I'm gonna mention I had an ED, and I am non-binary, and at the very least looked like an underweight tomboy lesbian. Short hair, stretched ears, a flannel and a binder to hide my chest. Even for my small town, how did more people not guess I was queer? Anyways, that is important because I was very insecure about how feminine my figure was, and I did not take compliments well. Okay, back to the story. We are all standing to get our picture taken, and while our teacher is figuring everything out, Isaac turns to me and says, "You look really nice today." I smile and nod, saying thank you to be polite, but it doesn't end there. He proceeds to tell me, "I like your shirt, it looks really good on you." My smile dropped and I said something I don't remember to try and deflect the comment. He only smiles and leans into me, saying, "Don't say that, you're beautiful, don't you know?" Red flag, red flag, red flag. But me being me, I was terrified, uncomfortable, and frozen to the spot. Luckily, my friend was watching the whole thing right beside me. He goes on to say, "You're so shy, it's really cute." And at this point, my friend interrupts yelling, "Anyways," and physically moves me to the other side and takes my place. Was I about to cry? Yes. Did I? Also yes. Later in the bathroom. She asked me if I'm okay, and I nod, but girl brain. She knows I am not okay. From there on out, I actively start avoiding him and he notices. I don't remember if this happened in my sophomore year or junior year, so this might not be entirely accurate time-wise. But let's say the new year starts, I get into our art class. I figure out my schedule, reluctantly say hi to Isaac and everyone else, and soon it's business as usual. Traveling dead-eyed from one classroom to another, but very quickly I noticed any classes I had on the first floor, Isaac was always there to chat me up. I would smile politely and walk as quickly to my next class as I could, but it felt like he was always there. Then it happened. I'm in the art room working on the wheel with a group of others, and he comes and either kneels or sits across from me. He would always try to talk to me while I was drawing on the wheel, even when I had headphones in, and he starts to work his way into asking me out in front of everyone. I'm very familiar with people trying to get you to do something you don't want to in a public setting, in hopes that you will say yes as to not make a scene. But I was very tired of being polite, even though everyone else could tell I was uncomfortable. So I was thinking maybe we could... No. One of the first hot damn times I ever told someone no in my entire life, and I thought I was going to get murdered for it. He freaks out. I honestly don't remember what happened. I just remember I ended up on the other side of the classroom, and this friend physically dragged him into the other room and put him in his place. His friend comes back out and asks me if I'm okay, and tells me he is so sorry for Isaac's outburst. I don't even remember what I said. I just know that I wasn't in the room when Isaac returned. After that, I really noticed the fact that he was following me this whole time. I had made a few more upperclassmen friends who picked up on this as well, which I am so grateful for them, but they couldn't always be around. He followed me from class to class, sometimes trying to talk to me, sometimes following behind me, sometimes walking right next to me the entire time. He would find me in the cafeteria, where I had the horrible luck of not sharing it with anyone who knew, and he would wait for me to leave the school and follow me to my bus. I decided screw this and told my dad. I thought if anyone could scare this guy into not looking in my direction ever again, it would be my dad. The guy who's head chef and bartender at the restaurant he works at. The guy who throws out rowdy drunks and beat the shit out of a dude who tried to sucker punch him after trying to bail on his check. This guy scares all my friends on accident. He will scare this boy for sure. Except he didn't believe me. He told me later that he didn't think I was serious and thought I was just exaggerating. So I told my counselor, "Oh, but Isaac is such a nice boy. He's just a little awkward." And then I told my art teacher, "Some people just show emotions differently. I can't do anything about that." Cool. I had a few friends who would keep him away from me a few times a week, and absolutely no adults to help me. So I stopped going to the art room outside of class, and I stopped going to lunch, and then class. The only time he wasn't there watching me was when I lost him in the crowd of kids and hid in the bathroom until the bell rang. I cut across the road to get to the buses, which I continuously got yelled at for. But it was the only way I could get away from him. He never laid a hand on me, thank God, but the mental games were exhausting. I was paranoid, tired and anxious. I found out how to get into the art room when no one was there, however. Upper-class art students were notorious for just always being in the art room. It was technically 3 connected rooms. The main entrance was the storage area, which led to the regular classroom, and out the side was the ceramics room with another door. So being the evolving burnout I was, I snuck in early morning, unlocked the ceramics door, which was always supposed to be locked, and when my teacher was teaching a lower class or just wasn't there, I would sneak in. I felt like I had my space back, and for a while, I actually thought things were getting better. Have you ever sat in a public bathroom for 6 hours before? It's really awful, so I was so happy to have the art room back. I would throw my backpack down, pull my hair back, blast my music, and just vibe. I got pretty comfortable with going into the rest of the art room. And one day, of course, I come out to clean a few paintbrushes and see him walking through to talk to our teacher. And wouldn't you know it, he sees me. So I go back into the ceramics room alone, like the dumbest final girl from a horror movie, and almost immediately he is shutting the door behind us. I am shaking and just hoping he leaves, but he starts talking. "Where have you been? I don't see you anymore. You're hard to find. Do you hate me? Do you hate me that much?" Well, at least I really was hiding from him if he couldn't see me. I don't remember if I said anything. I just remember everything felt like it was in slow motion. He seemed really close to me, and I think I said I had to go, and then I booked it out of there and into the nurse's office. Come to think of it, I should have told the nurse or my history teacher or our security guy. They had more sympathy on their left pinky than the entire rest of the staff put together. I know a good school nurse, LOL. After that, I really didn't go anywhere unless someone was with me. Even then, I felt him staring at me, and without fail, I could pick him out of the crowd watching me. He didn't smile or wave or even avert his eyes, and I was very convinced something bad would happen if I was ever alone with him again. I didn't bother telling anyone anymore because every adult turned me down and dismissed me. Hell, my own dad didn't even believe me. The last time that I knew he saw me was at the end of my junior year. The seniors were all out of school early like always, and he had stopped in for something as I was skipping class and wandering the halls. Because that class was led by a homophobic racist that talked down his nose at me and made nasty comments at all the girls. I had my headphones in and was swinging the hall past around when I saw him walking towards me and waving. I immediately turned around and basically ran up the stairs to the second floor. He called my name, then yelled it. He yelled something else before finally yelling, "What, you're just never gonna talk to me again?" Yeah, I never did. I know it's not as intense as what others have gone through, but it's the mind games and the lack of knowing that still keeps me up at night and gives me nightmares. What else did he do that I wasn't aware of? How long did he really follow me? How long did he keep tabs on me after he graduated, if he did at all? What if he never stopped? High school was hell, the teachers were demons, and Isaac, if you ever see this, let's never meet again. Edit. Thank you guys so much for adding your own stories and kind words in the comments. It makes me feel less alone to read them, and I hope my story helped anyone who doubted themselves like I did.